Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kelly, and in today's video, we're doing another pick a card reading. Today, we are asking Spirit all about what is going on in this connection. All of my pick a card readings are timeless, so whenever you come upon this video, a message will be ready for you. Before we begin, please give me a big like down below and subscribe to my channel for more pick a card tarot readings just like this one. If you're new to pick a card readings, this is how it works. Here are the 4 piles that you can choose from. This is pile 1 with the rose quartz. This is pile 2 with the amethyst. This is pile 3 with the blue opal. And this is pile 4 with the green calcite. I'll give you some time to start meditating on the cards and choose the pile that you feel the most drawn to. Please use your intuition when choosing your pile, and if you feel drawn to more than one pile, feel free to watch multiple piles. There may be more than one message in this video for you today. After you're done deciding, scroll down to the description box or the pinned comment and click on the timestamp to skip to your reading. Tarot is an intuitive and insightful way to read the current energies surrounding a situation. If you ever hear something you do not like in a reading, please don't give up or get discouraged. Remember that you have 100% free will over your life and you can change the course of direction at any time. My intention with these readings is to help gently guide you to a better path for your mind, heart, and soul. So never get discouraged about what you may hear because it may end up being the activation you need to change course. With that being said, I'll give you some time to start meditating on the cards. You can close your eyes and hover your hands over the screen to see if you feel any sensations on a certain pile, or you can simply meditate on the cards and choose a pile based off of your gut feeling. Hi, pile 1. If you chose the rose quartz, this is going to be your reading. Let's go ahead and get started with your tarot cards. We're getting the 8 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, 2 of Wands, Queen of Wands, ooh, the Devil, and the 6 of Cups. All right, so right off the bat, obviously this has been a connection that has been up and down. I could definitely see that with the cards here. But before we actually get into the tarot cards, I'd really like to talk about the rose quartz. What is the truth of this connection? So if you were drawn to the rose quartz, and this is a raw form of rose quartz, then the truth of this connection is all about exploring unconditional love, attachment, and self-worth. The rose quartz is connected to the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is all about that forgiveness, compassion, and emotional healing. So potentially in this relationship with the devil here, there might have been a lot of emotional healing that was needed, a lot of forgiveness and compassion, because the devil does talk about things like the shadow self, attachment, addiction, restriction, sexuality, enslavement, and even temptation. We'll get more into the devil later. That's showing me that potentially your shadow self or their shadow self has been showing itself in this relationship. The rose quartz is also connected to Taurus and Libra energy. So this is Venus ruled signs. Again, all about that love, worth, and even attraction. So you may have Venus heavy in your chart, prominent in your chart, or you may have Taurus or Libra, or they may have Taurus or Libra. And another interesting thing with this particular rose quartz is this is the raw version of a rose quartz. So that is giving me the energy of this relationship might be unpolished or unfinished. And the feelings that are in this relationship could be very, very raw. However, I am suggesting for this relationship to really thrive, that you would need to refine yourself, polish yourself, and they would also need to go on a journey of refining and polishing themselves for this relationship to be what you really wanted it to be. All right. So if we're going to use just the rose quartz to answer the question of the video, this is a pile that's really telling me and showing me that self-love and self-value is going to be really important to be able to manifest the love that you want in this relationship. So that is just the crystal portion of the video. Let's go ahead and get into the tarot story now. So with the Eight of Pentacles starting us off, I feel like actually what that's giving me is that you have been working on this relationship very, very hard and potentially over a long period of time. As you can see, she is very diligently working, drawing the same thing over and over and over again. This can also be signaling that there was a lot of cycles in this relationship that seem to be repeating itself over and over again. It just seems like it's repeating itself. So you guys may have had the same or similar fights again and again. You may have been disagreeing on the same things, or potentially even discussing the same plans again and again, and nothing is really following through, which leads you into a moment of confusion. But before we move into that, I want to give more detail about the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is talking about Sun in Virgo energy. So this is talking about repetitive tasks, mastery, skill development, and apprenticeship. But in this particular reading, since I'm doing a love reading, I want to take all those themes and put it into a love scenario. So I can see that you have been trying to work with this person, trying to make the relationship flow in a way that is beneficial for both people, but it seems like it's just cycles and cycles and cycles that is beginning to get tiresome, because we do move on to the Seven of Cups, which is actually Venus in Scorpio energy, and that's a very intense sign for the planet of Venus. So this is maybe even a jealous or possessive type of love, one that could have potential illusions in it, because the Seven of Cups does talk about things like opportunities, choices, wishful thinking, and illusion. So when we put that in the context of a relationship or a connection, relationship maybe has a lot of potential and has a lot of different paths that you can see yourself going down. For example, I'm just going to give generalized examples here. Maybe you feel like this relationship can be very healing, that you guys can get back to whatever that you used to have, or potentially you can travel the world together or even start a family together. You see all these different possibilities that you can go down with this person. However, it's not really matching up to your wishful thinking. So that could signal illusion. So I'm just gonna give a random example. Let's use a house. Literally the 7th house. So that's marriage. So maybe you are dating somebody at this time and you guys are boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever the situation is with you guys, but 7th house is about marriage. So maybe you guys are discussing marriage, discussing having a wedding, discussing having some type of permanent and official union. And 555 is on the clock as I say that. So maybe you guys are not getting that change that you want, or the change that you want in the right amount of time. So maybe nothing is really moving forward in that section, even if they say that they do want marriage, but nothing is actually happening, like no engagement is happening, etc. That is really going to show you an illusion. It's giving the energy of empty promises. That's what I'm getting out of that. So that is making you want to look forward with the Two of Wands coming next. So that was just a general example, and I feel like it is a common one when you're dating somebody you wanted to move forward, right? So I'm sensing the truth of this connection is maybe they're also confused and also looking at all the different possibilities that they have for them, and they're not really sure if they want to make that move yet. So with the Two of Wands coming next, these two cards are looking at these confusion of cups, of energies, of things that you can do. So what I'm sensing is with this Two of Wands, it's actually Mars and Aries energy. So that's a fiery energy, that's an action-oriented energy. And it is talking typically about things like future planning, progress, decisions, and discovery. So if we go along with the theme of marriage, then you want that, you want to plan for that and what comes along after that. But this just seems that this person is not going towards that at the pace that you'd like it to. And I feel like you're sensing that you might start to lose a little bit of yourself with the Seven of Cups here and the Two of Wands looking at the Seven of Cups. So there could be a loss of self here. At some point you have to make a choice, whether it is to stay stuck or move forward. You might have been idealizing this connection or even the person, because there's all these promises without that follow through. So this can even cause emotional fog for you, and even projection of a reality that does not exist. It's basically fantasy. So with that being said, there needs to be more required effort on both sides, because I'm sensing that there is one person definitely trying and investing very deeply and trying to go through the cycles again and again, but the other person may not be reciprocating that. So with the Two of Wands here, it really does show like you saw this potential in this person, but there's not action to follow through with it. So it's kind of like the energy of waiting for somebody to make a decision with you rather than you making all the decisions and trying to move things forward. And this is also giving me the energy of somebody planning out their next move, right? They're just looking out into the distance, trying to figure out life, have their phone in their hand, so probably doing some type of research to see if they want to move forward and where they want to move forward to. So that's really showing me that you're probably at a breaking point. And with that being said, we're moving on to the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is actually Pisces and Aries energy, and the Queen of Wands is a very courageous, confident, independent queen that is a social butterfly and has a lot of determination. So you really do want to move your life forward with or without this person. That's really what I'm sensing here. You have a lot of confidence and light in your aura, in your energy. Potentially, there's two ways that I can see this in the tarot story. Either this person really awoken your confidence and your light, and that's why you're here with them and I just heard stuck with them. Or another way I can see this is you're missing this version of yourself that kind of disappeared in the relationship. So you really have to see it for your particular situation. But what I'm seeing with this Queen of Wands is you are a very magnetic person that is very expressive and inspiring to the people that are around you. So this is really showing me that the Queen wants to really gain back her self-worth, her self-trust in herself, and really make decisions that are best for her life. Again, the Queen of Wands indicate a very independent queen. So maybe you were really independent before this relationship and you were not so confused about life and moves and trying to figure out the next step of life. You were really on a clear trajectory, but this connection has probably added some type of confusion into your life with the Seven of Cups here. So with the Queen of Wands coming up, it really is just telling me that Spirit is trying to tell you that you can learn through this relationship based off the energy that you're getting back and how you're feeling about yourself. So the way that you feel about yourself is a reflection of the relationship itself. You may feel very attracted to this person, very magnetized toward this person, but it doesn't necessarily signal alignment with this person for a long term. They might have brought out, honestly, the worst in you, because we do have the Devil coming up next. And the Devil is all about that earth energy. It is related to the sign of Capricorn. So this is, again, talking about shadow self, attachment, addiction, restriction, sexuality, enslavement, and temptation. So there's a lot of different themes that I can see here in the relationship that could highlight that potentially it is a toxic relationship. Because if you're both bringing up your shadows again and again, triggering each other's shadows and not really changing, you may be addicted or attached to the cycle of cycling through those toxic things. And this being restriction as well, you may feel like you can't get out of this, that it's some type of enslavement in this connection, which is signaling that there might need to be some type of ending, if not an ending of the relationship, at least major change and transformation so you guys can get out of the energy of the Devil. And I think what is having you hold on to the relationship is nostalgia. You may have been with this person for a really long time, or you might have just been revisiting the past of this person, because this card, the Six of Cups, is talking about revisiting the past, childhood memories, innocence, and joy. It is Sun in Scorpio energy. We have quite a lot of Scorpio here. We have two cards related to Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio, and Sun in Scorpio. So this is really telling me that this is a deep relationship that is very intense, probably very difficult for you to let go of. This person is feeling familiar to you, which is why you probably don't want to let them go. This is probably somebody from your past or a soul that you already knew. But just because this is a soul that you knew before or somebody that you knew from the past doesn't mean that they are going to treat you right. Doesn't mean that they are that person still. Doesn't mean that they're bringing out the best in you now. Maybe in the past when you were younger or kids or whatever the situation is, that you were able to bring out that loving light energy out of each other, but you have to look at the now. You have to really realize what is going on now, not just hold on to any potential or false hope or any wishful thinking that we see in these cards. So with that being said, all that nostalgia and old memories, even a past life energy could be present in this relationship and that connection. Both people need to pour into the relationship. So this is also giving me the energy of being comfortable with somebody versus wanting to actually grow, and mutual growth is very important. And it could also be about replaying an old emotional pattern that you may have had in the past, even with your parents, that you're trying to replay in a relationship. So all these things are themes for you to really understand and think about while you're trying to move forward. So all in all, with this tarot story so far, I am seeing that you can work on this relationship and that there is a connection here, potentially from the past life or childhood, or this person just feels familiar. However, both of you have a shadow that needs to be addressed. You can't just keep cycling through the shadow. through manipulations or lies or even illusions that might be present in the relationship, you have to both mutually want to change for the relationship to be able to move forward. However, I don't think that this is a completely bad relationship that is only going to bring you pain, because the only bad card that we got is the devil. And so I feel like if you can work through those illusions, those fears, and have a really straightforward conversation with this person, you may be able to really understand and come to a grounding point with each other. So that's all I have for the tarot part of the story. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, so this is the heart-shaped oracle card I got. I'm blocking a little bit of nudity here, but this is really showing me that she is resting and she is alone. So this might be something that you need, some alone time, some rest, to really just reflect on the situation and the relationship and how it makes you feel. What is it bringing out of you? Okay. If you could do anything, what would it be? The answer dwells in your heart, not in your mind. The heart is the gateway to the soul. I'm going to put that right here next to the Six of Cups. So I feel like you guys obviously really love this person. You really want to ride for this person, and you've probably known this person for a really long time, which is what is keeping you with this person. But you know in your heart that something is off, that it can't continue on in the way that it has right now. Something either needs to be talked about, discussed, planned out together, or communicated in general. I'm really sensing that with this card coming up, it's really showing me that you don't need to put your attention and time on this person. You need to just try to rest, relax, like the girl on the back of this card, and try to figure out what's in your heart, because your heart is going to tell you exactly what you need to know. And I feel like you have been sensing something is off. So I feel like you've been using logic. Oh, I've known this person for a long time. I feel like they could change, etc. But that's your mind trying to logic things out. But you got to really listen to your heart. Are they making you feel like they're a safe person even? I'm not sensing safety out of this at this time. So really returning to your desire that's in your heart and choosing to feel actually satisfied and fulfilled in a relationship rather than attachment to somebody, which is shown here in the devil. So let's go ahead and move forward. New moon in Taurus, know your worth. All right, so that's another clear indicator. So I feel like with that coming up, knowing your worth is really, really important. I sense that you do naturally know your worth with the Queen of Wands here. You know what you are good at. You know what makes you confident. You have that belief and self-worth, but this relationship may have taken you off of that path because the Queen of Wands is next to the devil here. So it's really showing me that you maybe need to look forward and out towards your life and see for yourself long term. Just because this person feels familiar does not necessarily mean that they're meant to be in your life forever. Maybe they are a lesson or a period of time that you can keep fondly in your heart, but not something that should be carrying on to the future with you. So let's go ahead and move on. We're getting memory, rosemary, the North Node is here, Sun is here. So with that being said, I'm really showing 7 here as well. 1 plus 6 is 7. So with the memory here, I feel like there's just a lot of memories. This is also talking about childhood memories that are making you think about this person and not really wanting to let them go. But honestly, let's say if you had to audit this relationship, how long ago were those memories that were actually pleasant? If the last years, months have been all unpleasant, then maybe you need to know your worth. And what are the people around you saying? If you have been reaching out for support of other people and telling them about the situation, they're going to want the best interest for you, especially if they don't know the person that you're talking about. They're going to give you completely unbiased information about this person. And if multiple people are telling you the same thing, that's really just showing me that the memories aren't good enough. You know, you can honor the past with this person without staying stuck in a relationship with them now. So this is really telling me with these two cards together that it's really necessary for you to clear any mental and emotional clutter so you can tap into your heart and your intuition and really figure out what is best for you to do moving forward. Okay? Ooh, taking risk. That's giving me the 2 of Wands. So the taking risk is really, really showing me that you might need to take a risk by potentially just adventuring out without this person, or even just step beyond what feels familiar, because obviously the 6 of Cups is here and this is all about that childhood memory and what feels familiar. So this person may even be your safe place. They're like a safety net for you. And this card coming up, taking risks, is really showing me that you're on that edge of change and planning something new, and you just want to figure this out. But I feel like to figure this relationship out, you're actually going to need to choose courage over comfort. So this bond is really coming to a turning point right now. It's really just showing me that it may have played its course and that you need to potentially move forward to see any more clarity. All right, and let's go ahead and move on. So we're getting the Oja's card, and this card actually is just talking about protecting your energy and your vitality. Okay, so the Oja's card is talking about the subtle energy of basically your health and your well-being. It's talking about the energy of being peaceful and patient. So I feel like you have been very patient in this relationship, but you haven't potentially been very peaceful in it because we have the confusion card and the devil here. So it's really showing me that it's so important for you to figure out what actually makes you feel healthy, what actually makes you feel like you have a good well-being and have a lot of vitality in your life. And honestly, with the Queen of Wands signaling here, I feel like your radiance has gone away. So trying to get that radiance back when you choose yourself. That inner peace that you're looking for may not stem from the relationship. Radiance may only end up actually coming back when you realize that you've been probably overgiving in this relationship and that it's draining you. You probably have been neglecting your own needs and not really resting and putting up boundaries. So all in all, pile number one, I'm really sensing that this relationship could work out, but there has been either confusion, overgiving, cycling through different things again and again, holding on to them because they feel safe, familiar, warm, and nostalgic about them. But there is that devil card, so it's showing me that there's attachment here, an addiction even to this person, and they're not really showing you what you need to see for a long-term potential partner or marriage, which we rolled with the 7 earlier in the day. So Spirit is really quite blatantly telling you to know your worth and don't let memory sway you. Take a risk and really see what you can do to pull more peaceful, healthy energy towards you. So pile number one, I'm honestly seeing that this connection could work, but at the current trajectory, I don't see this connection as meant to be or meaning to last in its current state. It's really meant to actually teach you your worth. And once you choose yourself and your worth, then the whole dynamic of the relationship may change and that'll be for the best. But if it doesn't change for the better and actually changes for the worse, that is showing you very clearly what this actually means. And you have the option to leave a situation that does not feed you, does not help you in any way. So pile number one, I'm really rooting for you right now. I'm really seeing that you're going to be coming into clarity soon, and you may need to step away for a little bit to get that clarity. I'm wishing the best for you, pile number one. I'm really rooting for you, pile number one, and that's all I have for you today for this reading. If you like this reading, please give me a big like down below, and of course comment down below what resonated for you. I'd love to see your comments. When you interact with a video, you pull the energy closer to you, so make sure you interact below. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I post a new pick a card tarot reading just like this one every single week, so I hope to see you here again soon. Until next time, bye, pile one. Hi, pile two. If you chose the Amethyst stone, this is going to be your reading. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're getting the 2 of Pentacles, the 6 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, the 8 of Wands, the 4 of Wands, ooh, and the Emperor. I can see that this is a very significant relationship for you right off the bat, and there may have been just trying to balance different priorities in this relationship that has caused one or both of you to walk away and caused even a lot of negative thoughts in the relationship. But I sense that you guys will be in union again soon, because we have the 8 of Wands and the 4 of Wands here. But before we really dive into the tarot story, let's talk about the Amethyst and why you may have been drawn to the Amethyst. So the Amethyst is a very intuitive stone. So this person may have heightened your intuition when you're with them, or you may just feel like you have a heightened intuition when you're dealing or connected with this person. So the Amethyst is really showing me that the truth of this connection could potentially be all about mental release, nervous system regulation, or even trusting in divine timing and divine order. This is really showing me potentially the relationship has really overstimulated your mind and caused emotional overwhelm with the 9 of Swords here and 6 of Swords. The Amethyst stone is connected to the 3rd eye and crown chakra. So those chakras are talking all about clarity, surrender, and having a spiritual perspective. So those definitely can be themes that you're seeing in your relationship with this person, really trying to understand more about the relationship and not be so emotionally volatile. There are also zodiac signs that are connected to the Amethyst, and that is going to be Aquarius and Pisces. These are the last 2 signs of the zodiac. So these are more mature energies, and both of these signs represent things like detachment, compassion, having a higher truth, because they are those last two signs. It's more of an old soul type of energy. So you may even feel like this relationship gives old soul energy. So the energy of this particular stone is really all about that intuition, protection, cooling, even stabilizing the connection. So you may have had a little bit of emotional chaos in this connection, but there is going to be clarity that comes after realizing things and potentially even letting some things go. All right, so now let's dive into the tarot story and see what we're seeing here. So the Two of Pentacles is starting us off, which is Jupiter in Capricorn energy, and it talks all about things like time management, prioritization, and adaptability. So you may have been needing to adapt to each other's schedules or timelines. You may have multiple priorities outside of the relationship that has affected your relationship, or you may just not even feel like a priority to this person. That's another way that I can see that card kicking us off. So that's just the main theme of this particular reading, that time management. With the Six of Swords coming next right here, this is Mercury in Aquarius energy. So this is the energy of being detached, because it is talking about transition, change, rite of passage, and releasing baggage. So there may be things in this relationship that have made you feel like it's so chaotic emotionally that you need to step away from a little bit. Or again, with those multiple priorities, maybe you have family obligations, work obligations, or just your own mental health that you want to focus on, which is driving you away from the relationship. However, I'm seeing that once you're away from the relationship, you actually go through this period of mental turmoil. Because the Nine of Swords is here next, the Nine of Swords talks about Mars and Gemini energy actually, and it's talking about things like anxiety, worry, fear, depression, and even nightmares. So potentially when you step away from the relationship for a little bit or for your own mental sanity, you at first come into a lot of anxieties and worries about either the relationship, your future, individual future, and your future with this person as well. So the truth of this connection is, at this point, it has brought you quite a lot of things to think about, emotional turmoil. I feel like maybe one or both of you is resisting something in the relationship, and that's why you guys have different priorities even. You guys don't have the same timeline, you don't have the same schedule, I just heard. So maybe you were looking for a way to have similarities in your schedule to connect more, and even that was a bit difficult. With the Nine of Swords coming up, it's really showing me that potentially you were meant to move away from this situation right now, because it does feel like this connection has been a juggling act and a lot of mental effort. You may have felt emotionally imbalanced or trying to be pulled into either their instability or instability in your own life and pulled in a lot of different directions. So that Nine of Swords is just like that heightened point of just getting tired of that. And it's really showing that you had a lot of mental baggage at this time and you want to choose peace over that type of conflict in your life. So this connection really caused you to have restless thoughts and anxiety. You have probably been overthinking, having loops of thoughts, and really internalizing those things. You may have even experienced sleeplessness or other emotional distress. And doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that this relationship needed to be stepped away from for a certain amount of time. And so after you step away, I feel like things are going to change for you suddenly, because the Eight of Wands is here, and the Eight of Wands is all about Mercury and Sagittarius energy, and it does talk about movement, fast-paced change, action, alignment, and air travel. So maybe you have been inspired to go travel and feeling a lot more in alignment while you feel like your energy and your action is coming back into your life. So with the Eight of Wands, it's really showing me that things may actually shift really suddenly. You may start to feel very, very clear about the situation. You may even get sudden communication from this person where you guys are able to really, really talk things out, and movement is starting to actually happen in the relationship rather than all the stagnancy that may have been happening or the cycles that may have been happening. So this card really does talk about that rapid energetic change. And where are we going? We're going towards the Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands is Venus in Aries energy, and this is a very positive card. I really like this card actually. It is the 1111 card, and it is talking about celebration, joy, harmony, relaxation, homecoming, and freedom. So I felt like after going away from this relationship for a while and really recollecting your thoughts and reviewing the relationship and where it's at and what's been going on thus far, it's really showing me that you guys both either want a homecoming and peace within your relationship and connection, or you may have realized that this actually is not connection for me and actually adding a lot of chaos into my life, and therefore I want to just be peaceful again and away from this relationship. So whichever way that it goes, I feel like you're rapidly going to get that peace and sense of joy coming back into your life, that harmony back into your life. And this is a good time to just mention that whichever way this goes, because for some of you, I see that you're leaving a connection and then rapid change comes and you meet somebody else, or for some of you, you're balancing a relationship and you left it for a little bit and then you guys talk and reconcile and it feels like a homecoming. So either way, I think a good person is coming into your life. However, with this connection, you're going to have to really pick and choose and see what's actually manifesting in your particular life. So I'm sensing that if this person is willing to work with you, the person you're inquiring about, then rapid change will come. But if you're just constantly getting resistance from this person, then eventually time away from them is going to be way more peaceful than time with them. And that is a major sign for you to potentially move on because you have something better on the other end. So with that being said, the last card we're getting is the Emperor, which is all about fire energy. It is represented by the Aries sign. So this is really showing me that this person coming into your life has a lot more fiery, action-oriented energy, and potentially even going to be somebody that can help you teach you boundaries, because this card talks about structure, establishment, authority. It's a father figure, control, security, order, ambition, all those type of things. So the Emperor is a very masculine energy, and it really is going to teach you to reclaim your autonomy and really create an emotional order in your life, because I feel like you had felt emotionally chaotic in this relationship before coming to this realization point. So that's what I'm seeing for the tarot story. Let's go ahead and move forward and see what else we can get. Okay, so this is the Heart Oracle I pulled for you. And as you can see, it is a tree and there's many different cycles and changes. So you may be going through a lot of different changes. There's also cycles here, or circles here, and the circle here. And the Emperor is sitting on a circle. So I feel like you're going through a cycle, a realization point. So whether you realize that this relationship is for you and you want to work it out, or it is not for you and you want to leave it, is going to be coming, the realization is going to be coming soon. So let's go ahead and see. So it says, life is a series of constantly shifting cycles. When we resist change, we resist the natural flow of life and create unnecessary stress. Go with the flow and you will be surprised where it leads. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I swear I didn't flip that over and read it before this. It's just showing me through the images that it was those cycles. So what I'm seeing from this is actually that you know within your heart and your intuition, which is why you're connected to the Amethyst, what this is actually bringing out of you. What does this connection actually bring out of you? Let's just be so for real. Let's not sugarcoat anything. While you're in this relationship with this person, are you constantly flipping back and forth thinking, this is a good person and a good relationship? No, this is a bad person, a bad relationship. Like you're constantly going between two different opinions about the relationship and always feeling like you want to either run away or escape the relationship and always having these negative thoughts. That's a sign. So when you step away and just go with the flow, as in obviously the flow in the relationship is pushing you away, and then you just go away and you actually get a lot more peace and relaxation in your life from leaving this relationship. That is a major sign that it's really showing you that this is not a relationship for you. However, when you go away and you just get to collect your thoughts and both of you seem to be magnetized back together again and again and wanting to talk about things, that's also a sign. You can always have a homecoming with somebody, rekindle that joy and harmony in the relationship if both people are pouring into the relationship. It really does require like that level of friendship to have a good relationship. So if you're feeling that way about the person, nobody is saying to completely leave the relationship, but there needs to be some time and space between this relationship at this time so you can really figure out, you know, what's best. And honestly, if this relationship is causing you unnecessary stress, that is a major sign that it's probably not really the alignment type of relationship for you. So let's go ahead and move forward. First quarter moon in Aquarius, trust the universe. Okay, perfect. So the universe is really genuinely asking you to just trust in the process. Maybe some of you feel like you're staying up at night, like, what if I never find a person like this? What if this person is the one that I'm supposed to be with and I'm not really pouring into the relationship as much as I know that I should. And what Spirit is saying is just let go of that. Let go of any type of control that you feel like you need to have on the relationship. I feel like some of you are gripping really tightly to this particular relationship and this particular connection, when time and time again you may have been shown that it's really not the relationship for you. Like if you're always in a mental turmoil about the relationship, and I'm seeing actually somebody venting their feelings out to multiple different people, it is okay to want to vent your feelings out to people, especially people that you feel like are your good friends or your good family members that you can trust. There's no problem with venting out your emotions. But the thing is, if you're feeling like you constantly need to vent out your emotions about this particular relationship to other people, that is a major sign that this relationship is distressing you. This relationship is not really showing you the love that you really want to receive in your life. And it is starting to feel even repetitive. I'm getting like a repetitive cycling nature of this relationship. And that is a sign to trust the universe, choose yourself, see if you just resonate with other people, places, and things. And this doesn't mean romantic. Maybe you just take a step away from this connection and realize that you're connecting more with your friends or your family. Maybe you're connecting more with people that you meet at the hobbies that you like to do or even at work, etc. It's just showing me that trusting the universe and going with the flow of life and trying to choose positive vibes every day rather than just cycling through this negativity, this fear with this person, then you're going to slowly be led towards the right path for you. And that might not include this person. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. Okay, focus. And this is a type of flower. There's a Sagittarius sign here, and 35. So 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 is the number of karma, money, abundance. So maybe it is time to focus on your money. The Two of Pentacles is kind of also looking like an 8. So I'm sensing that actually, oh, and there's also 8 here. So there's a lot of 8 energy. I'm also seeing 4 and 4, which is 8. So I'm really getting the energy of karma, of even focusing on your own abundance. So maybe this relationship has taken you away from your abundance as well. That is also going to be another major sign. This is only for some of you, but maybe ever since you got connected with this person, you have just noticed yourself not working as hard, not dedicating as much to your work, not really caring about your finances, or even blowing your finances for some of you. And that is something to show you that maybe this relationship has been a bad influence on you, to be quite honest. And what you really need is to focus back on yourself. Try to emotionally center yourself so you can continue to pour into pleasurable work and having financial tidiness in your life as well. Also, this is showing me that there's a need for you to focus on having an abundant mindset, and that's more than just money. This is just realizing that there is an abundance of connections that could be out there for you. You could be mutually attracted to many other people that actually want to give you a partnership that is something that feels like joyful and harmonious, and that may need the completion of one relationship to get into that next relationship that's actually going to be healthy for you. Okay, so with that, it's really showing me that your energy really needs to be grounded at this time, and you really need to focus on things that are good for you, because I do see emotional swings in your energy. I do see maybe even losing yourself to another person in this particular reading. So really tapping into your own inner wisdom and really tapping into your own inner intuition as well is going to bring more calmness into your life, when you can start making your next moves from that point after you have that clarity and focus. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. Ooh, simplicity, and there's a white feather. I love that. So with that being said, you may be seeing white feathers around and about when you go walk in nature, which is another thing that I'm actually going to recommend for this particular pal. Walking in nature, really just enjoying the sunny days. So maybe you live in a place that it doesn't always have sunny days. So maybe really just taking advantage of those sunny days where you can go outside and take a walk. It doesn't have to be a long walk. Like, you would be surprised when you're like ruminating a lot and you have a lot of mental energy, which is shown here in the Nine of Swords. Something that actually really helps is getting outside, getting some air, walking around. And you'll be surprised, like 15 minutes goes by way faster than you would have thought. Even 30 minutes goes by faster than you thought. And if you have somebody to walk with, it's even a faster amount of time. So I really want you to try to focus and simplify your life at the same time. So you don't need to focus on multiple different things at a time, which we see here in the multiple priorities card, the Two of Pentacles. So potentially you are really spreading yourself thin, but now it's really time to step away from a lot of different things so you can focus slowly and steadily on yourself and the things that are actually feeding you in your life. So focus on a couple of things, simplify your life, and see how things change. See how things end up flowing for you. And you might even meet the person that you've always been looking for. So this is really showing me that things have been chaotic in your life and in this connection, and that stepping away to get some clarity is going to be the best thing for you at this time. So let's go ahead and move on to the last card. Oh, pranayama. This is a card that is literally talking about the breath. This card talks about controlling your breath. It is a yoga card, and this is really talking about just like using that prana energy, which is going to bring you closer to your own truth. Controlling your breath is controlling your life. So I've noticed even in myself, when I feel anxious, I end up like breathing really, really fast or very, very shallow or holding my breath entirely. So you notice yourself when you're feeling like that, when you feel that heaviness in your chest or that anxiety in your chest. It could mean a lot of different things. It could be sadness, grief, worry, anxiety, fear, which we do see in the cards. So when you're feeling that way, I would recommend just taking a pause, slowing down to try to regain control of your breath. When you feel like you're breathing really fast and anxiously, it means that your life is full of that fast, anxious energy. Also, shallow breathing can signal anxiousness as well. So really, really taking the time to even box breathe. Look up box breathing on YouTube. There's tutorials. It's very simple, but it's so simple that it just works so well, and simplicity is important. It's usually a video where it tells you to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds. And this way you don't have to count or anything. You could totally tune out, just stare at the screen on the YouTube and do the box breathing. In and out. In, hold, out, hold. And it just cycles again and again and again. And it really helps calm the nervous system down. So I feel like that is going to be key for you at this time while you're navigating the changes in this relationship. And honestly, the breakup part of a relationship is always the hardest part, hardest phase of a relationship, that you literally feel like you can't breathe and that you can never live on without this person. But the truth is, if this was meant to be, if this was meant for you, that you would really be able to feel clarity inside the relationship. And if you don't feel clarity and you always are anxious and worried about the relationship, then just know that there's better for you outside of this relationship. So pile number 2, that is actually all I have for you today. I really want to encourage you to choose yourself and realize that this connection wasn't meant to fully consume your life. Maybe it was meant to teach you what it feels like to actually have peace when you step away from the relationship. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a big like down below. I'm wishing the best for you. Comment down below that you chose pile 2. I'd love to see your comments. When you interact with the reading, you bring the energy closer to you, and I'm wishing you clarity and peace. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I post new pick a card tarot readings just like this one every single week, so I hope to see you here again soon. Bye, pile 2. Hi, pile 3, if you chose the blue opal, this is going to be your reading. Let's go ahead and get into the tarot card first. All right, 3 of Swords, 2 of Cups, the Chariot, ooh, 6 of Wands, 2 of Swords, ooh, and the Tower. All right, this honestly is a relationship that is honestly full of ups and downs, but it's like a relationship that has a lot of transformation and change, because we do have the 2 of Cups, which signals that you guys are mutually attracted to each other and really want to have a unified love and partnership. However, there's also the 2 of Swords, which really signals difficult decisions and weighing up your options, and the Tower as well. However, it balances out with the Chariot and the 6 of Wands. So it's really that up and down energy. So let's go ahead and get started into the video for your reading, pile number 3. But before we begin into the tarot cards, let's talk about the blue opal a little bit and why you may have been attracted to the blue opal. So the blue opal actually talks about gently healing your emotional wounds and encouraging an honest emotional communication and expression. So maybe those are the themes in your relationship where you really need to focus on communication to really show that you guys are in it together. So the chakras that the blue opal is connected to is the throat and the heart chakra. So this is really showing me that there is a communication element here, and also even emotional release through communication. So the zodiac signs that the blue opal is connected to is Cancer and Pisces, so very watery energy. So this relationship is full of very emotional things, sensitivity, intuition, and even devotion towards each other. So the Cancer and Pisces energy may be even strong in your chart or their chart. So with that being said, the energy of this stone is really soft but transformative. It really shows that there may be cycles of grief and worry and heartbreak or even betrayal, but then clarity again. So really showing me that transformative alchemist type of energy here. That's all I have for the blue opal. Let's get into the tarot story now. We really kick off with a kind of difficult card where it talks about heartbreak, emotional pain, sorrow, grief, and hurt, the Three of Swords. So this is Saturn in Libra energy. So potentially, sometimes heartbreak can come from not just like actual dramatic things that happen in a relationship, but just like little misunderstandings. So potentially there could have been misunderstandings, there could have been actual big heartbreaks in this relationship, but whatever had happened, this is what's kicking us off in the tarot story. So something has just happened and it is requiring communication, but at this time, one or both of you are just really feeling potentially betrayed or in a grief type of energy, a hurt type of energy because of that situation. So even though you guys went through this or are currently going through this, the Two of Cups coming next is showing me that you guys are people that want that unified love and partnership. You're mutually attracted to each other. This is Venus and Cancer energy, and that is a very lovely energy, a nurturing energy, but a moody energy because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So the moon changes every single day. So it could be that even little misunderstandings or moody changes affected this relationship. We're also getting the Chariot, which is connected to Cancer as well. So that's pretty much double Cancer right here. And also the Chariot is just like a watery energy in general, and the blue opal is a watery energy. So again, this is a very emotional relationship. I almost feel like you guys learn through the pain. So even though the cycle feels very painful right now, there is going to be a big learning lesson that comes out of this. Maybe you guys are feeling hurt or betrayed, like I said, but you take a little bit of time apart. I'm seeing like in this imagery, like he's inside, she's outside, and she's feeling hurt, and they're separated for right now, and it's storming. And so you guys have maybe had a very emotional fight, but I'm sensing that you guys are still wanting to be close to each other and move forward, because the Chariot card is all about moving forward, control, willpower, success, action, determination, victory, and a journey. So I sense like both of you feel like this relationship is a journey that you want to move forward. You want to take on the challenges. You want to have that victory, because we do have the Six of Wands next and it talks about victory. So you want that relationship, but you just need a moment, some space, because there had been something that went on and you really need the time and space to really decide if it is the best for you. You know, you really do have choice here. Even though this is a good relationship, the heartbreak or the betrayal or whatever had happened may be too great to move on. But I do sense that both of these people would really like to move on, would really like to talk about it. But you really have to have a mutual effort in relationships. It doesn't matter what type of relationship. I could be talking about a friendship even on the table right now. You know, it doesn't matter. I don't always talk about romantic relationships, even though the title of this video is What's the Truth About This Connection. You could be inquiring about a friendship, a family, literally anything. Both people do want to make it work, move forward, and have that victory of a good friendship, a good relationship, a good family relationship, whatever it is. But both of the people have to put mutual effort in for it to actually work. So with that Chariot card, I'm seeing a lot of determination, at least in one person's energy. So if both people have the same amount of control and discipline and energy and determination towards fixing this situation, then you will get that victory. However, if only one person is trying to put action towards it, only one person is trying to keep going on with the journey, then it's going to be very difficult for the person that actually wants to move forward, because the other person is dragging their feet. So make sure that you are really assessing the situation as time goes by. And you can take it day by day, because maybe right after the heartbreak or the betrayal or the feeling of hurt and grief, you're not ready to talk. So that is okay. You can give it some time. But if there's no forward action and movement after a long period of time, you may have to really reconsider. But each individual is going to be different. So with the Six of Wands coming next, this is actually talking about success, public recognition, progress, and self-confidence. So maybe no matter how the choice goes, you'll end up feeling self-confident about it and yourself anyways, because you had gone through such a hard thing. So the Six of Wands is talking about Jupiter in Leo energy. So this is a very big energy. This is fiery energy. Leo loves to be the star, loves to be self-assured, is self-assured. And so Jupiter amplifies anything it touches. So when it amplifies Leo, I mean, you're like a superstar, regardless, with or without this person. However, if we're talking about a relationship context, you guys want to have that healthy communication. You want to let your heads cool down and kind of just stop feeling so much pain before talking to each other, which I always recommend. So you don't want to talk while you're still feeling hurt, hot, and heavy, because you might just end up damaging the relationship more. When you both come to a place where you have calmed down, then your wisdom comes back in, right? Then your direction comes back in and you start to think clear-headedly, and then you can talk to each other, because that's how you're going to be able to move forward. Again, the blue opal does talk about emotional expression, emotional communication. So when you guys are talking about feelings, sometimes it can get really hot, because if you're still feeling very upset about the situation, then communication can be very unhealthy in those times. So I'm sensing, though, with the Six of Wands, regardless of how this goes, your self-confidence will be regained, either you and or the other person. So this is really just getting that personal victory back, even if you don't go back towards this relationship and not be able to figure it out. With the Six of Wands here, it really just shows that you rise from this regardless. You're going to be stronger after this. You're going to be more self-assured after this. You're going to be more self-confident after this. It doesn't matter how this ends up, so long as you keep believing and betting on yourself, is what I just heard. So what I'm seeing is, after you guys have this heartbreak and you realize that you do both want to move on and have that victory, whether both of you want to move on or maybe one of you wants to move on, you really have to see. When you guys do talk again and you feel like you have that emotional standing point that matches up, I still sense that there's going to be something going on, because the Two of Swords and the Tower is here. So the Two of Swords is talking about having a difficult decision, weighing up options, and impasse and avoidance. So this is Moon in Libra energy. What I'm sensing is, maybe right after a conflict you made up quickly, but as time moves by and moves forward, you had to realize we're cycling again, or you're really trying to think deeper about the situation and if it's actually right for the both of you, because it is a really difficult decision. And Libra is known for being indecisive. So if we're talking about this card related to Moon in Libra, I feel like in your internal self, when you're thinking about the situation, you're really going back and forth of, is it a good idea or not? Like, you want to both make that decision, but I'm sensing that you guys are really mutually attracted to each other. You really do want it to work out. So maybe you're not even voicing these things completely, but whatever the hurt was, whatever the betrayal was, whatever the pain was here, it seems to be something that kind of lingers in the relationship, no matter how strong the relationship is. Even if you guys fixed it right after the situation, there's still something lingering, which shows in the Two of Swords. So, and then finally, we end up with the Tower. And this could be interpreted in two different ways. Either you guys realize that actually this isn't right and everything breaks apart, or you guys realize that, yes, you went through something hard, but you're both on the same page. You both want to move forward. You both want that personal and relationship stability and victory, and therefore it maybe radically transforms the relationship. Either way, you'll really have to decide on what you're seeing in your own individual relationships. But first, ask yourself, how much effort do you want to put into the relationship? And also, how much effort are you seeing from the other person? And do you see this in a long-term way? Do you see an equal give and take? Just things like that. And then make your decision. Because, yeah, the Tower is really giving me either break up or break through, because the Tower typically talks about sudden change, upheaval, chaos, revelation, awakening, destruction, and enlightenment. So essentially, something major could have happened that really destructed your relationship or your life, but it could either bring you towards an awakening or enlightenment about the situation and wanting to move forward, or it could just bring more chaos, more upheaval into your life, realizing that, this isn't for me. So you really have to decide what, side you're leaning on when you're discussing the type of pain that you went through. Okay, so let's move on to the oracle cards now. So we're getting this for your heart-shaped oracle. It's a couple, and look, there's a snake around it. You can't make this stuff up. So there's radical transformation in this relationship regardless. It doesn't matter what you end up choosing. You guys are both going to either change together, and if we're going off the image of this card, it definitely, like, they're changing together. But for some of you, I think that you will choose to not continue on with this particular person, but you'll really just have to see, are they changing alongside you? Because not only one person can change and make it work, it has to be two people, and the snake is in the shape of the heart. So you have to choose transformation in the name of love. Like, you want to actually change, you have to have the will to change. So everybody here down on this earth has free will. So you need that will. The will is very important for you to want to change. Even your will is going to be more important than the feeling of love, because the feeling of love may not inspire you to change. It's your own willpower, which is shown here in the chariot, that is going to make you want to change. So first you need to have that, and the other person also needs to have that. And the love is just the amplifier of letting you guys change and going forward in your journey together. Okay, so let's see what it says. Power. You instinctively know what is right for you, and you have the power to say no or walk away at any time. Oh my goodness. So, guys, with that being said, I'm really sensing that that's directly tied to the Three of Swords. Obviously, there has been some type of emotional pain here. I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to say what it was, because it could be literally anything. But there had been some type of sorrow or hurt or grief that comes into this relationship, a heaviness on the chest. And whatever that is, it's really asking you to reevaluate, is that something that you're going to end up holding on to and not being able to let go of? Or is it something that you actually have the power of letting go? Or is it something that you actually feel like you do have the power to let go of that and walk away from the feelings of that, and so you can move forward in your relationship? So it really depends all about what pain is coming up in your mind as I'm talking about this spread here. So that's something that's lingering on your mind. And for some of you, I'm sensing that this isn't something recent. This may be something from a long time ago, but it's like something that's just holding your relationship up. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a whole revelation. Yeah, so for some of you, it is like a recent fight or a recent thing, but some of you, you just are like 90% in, and they're 90% in. But for some reason, there's like that 10%, something just had happened, or you saw something in the person that made you question them, and it's just that 10%. It's just that 10%, and you have to realize that that is what's potentially holding you back. You need to realize that if you're holding on to that 10% and you really feel like you can't forget that and let that go, then it's going to obviously affect your relationship. But for some of you, you look at it and you realize, yes, that 10% is there, that 10% happened, but that's not what I want to hold on to. I want to move forward from that. I understand that that was part of our journey to grow and change, and now I want to move on. So another thing I want to say that's coming up for me right now is that I actually am not one of those people that think that people cannot change. I actually think people are absolutely able to change, and radical change at that, completely transform who they are. But like I was talking about earlier, it has to come from their own will. It has to come from their own sheer willpower and their desire to do it, because you will only change and transform if you want to. Think about any time that even your parents told you to do something, even if it was as simple as cleaning your room. If you didn't want to do it, you're not going to do it. But maybe sometimes, and all of us have had this, you just have one of those days where you feel super energetic and you want to organize things, clean things, get things done, and it's all from your willpower. And nobody could even stop you or stand in the way of you when you're feeling that way. So that's the energy that I'm talking about here, because the chariot does talk about that willpower again. So it's really that control of your own energy, your own actions to push you forward. You are so powerful, and you are able to make the decision for yourself in your highest good. So let's go ahead and move on. New moon in Pisces, attuned to the divine. So this is really showing me that your intuition has been screaming at you, telling you what you need to do for the best thing for you. So nobody could tell you what to do. You have all that power within you to really show yourself that you have the emotional sovereignty to make your own choices. You have human agency. You have your own autonomy, your own mind to be able to think things through and push forward. I'm sensing like I'm seeing somebody running. I'm literally seeing somebody running right now. They're not running away from anything, but it's just that energy of action and moving forward that this person really wants to get to, like some destination, and they're running towards it. Or literally some of you might be runners and get that runner's high and really are able to think more clearly when you're on a run. So if that's resonating with you, do things where you feel like it's giving you more clarity for your situation, because I'm sensing like some of you obviously are very confused about what to do next and even coming to a breaking point. But I'm sensing that when you focus back into yourself, you're going to get those intuitive hits With this as well, with the Pisces in this card, it's really showing me to be compassionate to yourself, because Pisces is a very empathetic, compassionate sign that's very intuitive as well. So having that energy towards yourself too, because you always give that energy out if you have Pisces in your chart, but you need to give that to yourself as well. Really try to see it from an outside perspective. Think about it. If your best friend or your family member or whoever was going through the situation you're going through, what would you advise them? And if you were thinking very, very clearly without too much emotion, what would you be doing? What would be the next step? So just really, really trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, noticing any synchronicities that might come up, and really just trusting a higher guidance as well. So let's go ahead and move forward. We're getting transition to cauliflower. Okay. Cancer here again, in the moon here. So there's just a lot of Cancer here, and Cancer does talk about like change. So 11 here, which is a number of communication actually. 1 + 1 is 2, which is the feminine number. So maybe just tapping into your own femininity is really important. Communication might be really important right now with either the other person or just like talking to yourself. I know that sounds crazy, but I really do feel like things like journaling, writing it out, even speaking it out, mirror work, where you're literally looking at your own self in the mirror and talking to yourself. I know that sounds crazy, especially if you've not done it before, but you need to try it, because you would be surprised what comes out, because you're looking at yourself. And a lot of us, we don't spend a lot of time looking at ourselves. Maybe if we're getting ready for the day or putting on makeup or washing our faces or brushing our teeth, like, yeah, there's a mirror there and that's when we look at ourselves. But we look at a lot of other people more than we even look at ourselves. So when you're looking at yourself and you're speaking to yourself, it's like an outside perspective, even though it is you. So you can get a lot of insights from doing that mirror work. You can also do affirmations in the mirror, of course, but for this particular reading and what I'm talking about right now is more talking yourself through the situation rather than looking for external people to validate you or give you information about your own transition, because this is your life and you have all of that intuition inside of you to show you what's the best choice for you. But I do sense absolutely you are in some type of transition phase, whether you're really deciding on this connection or moving forward or breaking up. So there's a lot of, oh wait, this is connected to Cancers and Pisces, and it's Cancer and Pisces here. So this is a very emotional relationship. Like both of you may be very emotional people, or the relationship is just very deep. And honestly, for some of you, you may just need time apart. Like you may just need a little bit of time apart so you can work on yourself, have a routine that is dedicated to yourself before you guys come back together. Okay, let's go ahead and move forward. All right, we're getting enlightenment. So I feel like, is this like a ship? Yeah, it's literally a ship like going away. So I do think that messages are repeating here. I think you need to go away for a little bit. Actually, I think this is a galaxy, excuse me, but it does look like a little ship and a sail right there, right? It might be. But I think that you need to go away for a little bit so you can really get your emotions in check, that you can let go of some things and potentially that heartbreak or betrayal. Another thing just came up, and I don't know why I sighed like that. I think it's just you've come to this point of like kind of exhaustion about the situation, but what just came up for me is no matter what the heartbreak was, whatever betrayal or hurt was, if you do want to move forward in this relationship, like you love this person, you're like connected to this person and they're also very loving towards you and attached to you, you need to truly forgive and let go of whatever that heartbreak was and stop bringing it up again and again, because some of you are sabotaging your own selves by not moving forward fully. It goes back to that 10% thing I was going on about, because I'm just getting that again of if you do want to choose this person and you do feel powerful in your choice to choose this person, that's fine. However, make sure that you work on forgiving the person and also forgiving yourself for feeling all those feelings. It's okay to feel those feelings. I think some of you need to really step away and be alone and have solitude to make this decision. Let's go ahead and move on. We're getting Sita. Okay, this is a deity card, and this deity is actually very interesting for this particular spread. This deity is the goddess of devotion and loyalty. So you may be very, very devoted, very, very loyal to this relationship. So in your heart of hearts, so you know you're not going to leave. You're not going to leave this relationship. For some of you, you're so locked in, you're just feeling the sense of betrayal of something that has happened before. So if that is the case and you feel very loyal to this person, very devoted to this person, then you need to work on yourself and forgiving this person. That 10%, whatever that 10% is that you're holding on to, you have the power to work through that. You need to journal like 100 pages. You can write an angry letter, shred it up after, burn it. It doesn't even matter. You want to get that energy out. So let's focus on that 10% that I was exampling. So if you have something in the past of this relationship, that 10% that just is stopping you from going full force into the relationship, I want you to dive into that. I want you to step away from the relationship, get solitude, dive into those negative feelings. Let yourself just drown in them. Okay? But we're not doing no action while we're drowning in them. You can drown in it, you can cry, you could take a bath, you can journal, you could scream into a pillow. Get all that negative energy out, that 10% energy, get it all out. You don't need to hold it in because obviously you're holding it in and it's affecting your relationship. So if you're really resembling or feeling the energy of this deity, which is the goddess of devotion and loyalty, then you really have devoted your entire life, yourself, to either that person or just that relationship. Even when you're facing like betrayal or harsh treatment, you have endured it in the name of love and loyalty and devotion. Okay? Because Sita actually remains loyal to her husband Ram, despite being told that he was like dead. Another king wanted to marry her, but when her husband returned, he did not believe that she was loyal. In her story, she said, if I'm not being truthful, then I'll jump into this fire and I'll be burned if I'm not truthful. But if I'm truthful, I'll jump into this fire and I will not be burned. So when she stepped into the fire, she was absolutely untouched, proving that she was loyal. So this deity really shows that she understands how much you truly care and the sacrifices that you have made for this relationship. You have really did display that selfless devotion, that loyalty. And that's one of the most holy things that you can do. It is a divine thing to be devotional and loyal. Women, especially, are very devotional and loyal. However, is this person actually changing? Is this person actually also showing you that they are just as devoted to you? And maybe that's not the case. But if you're really knowing in your hearts of hearts that you're going to be devoted to this person no matter what anybody says and no matter what has happened in the past, then you need to go away for a little bit and just work on that 10% that you're still holding on to. Go deep into it. Meditate. Meditate. I always talk about meditation because actually I have healed so much in my life through meditation. All types of things. Like it doesn't have to be just relationship, it could be childhood things, friendships. When you meditate with an intention going into the meditation, like you want to resolve X, Y, and Z. So for this example, if I'm about to go into a deep meditation, 25 minutes to 2 hours, and I say, I really want to focus on this 10% thing that I've been holding in my relationship that has been stopping me from moving forward completely, I will set that intention and I will just let the meditation guide me where it needs to guide me. It will flow me where it needs to flow me. And I've had major revelations in meditations. I see things when I'm meditating. If I get into deep enough meditation, I see things in my mind's eye. And I'm able to let things go in a way that I can't explain. More so than journaling, more so than anything else. 555 on the clock as I'm saying this. And it's really showing me that you need some major emotional release because in those deep meditations that I've had, so which is why I keep encouraging it, I have bawled, I've cried over things that I thought I completely already let go, but they come up in meditation and you realize you haven't let it go. So my lovely pile threes, I do think there's some 10% of something that's still being held on to you that is holding you back in this relationship that you want to move forward in, that you want to have victory in, public recognition in. So with that being said, that's actually all I have for you today. I really do encourage that you take some alone time and really dive into whatever 10% is holding you back. And I really do believe that you can move forward from this. This chair is jumping out at me right now. That is the main thing that's jumping out at me right now. And also all of the Cancer, literally, that we're getting on the cards. So just focusing on emotional self-control, okay? Emotional regulation and letting things go from the past that are bringing up bad emotions and causing cycles in your life and cycles in your relationship is going to be the most important thing for you. I'm really rooting for you, pile three. I really see that this is going to change for you soon. So that's actually all I have for you today. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up down below. And of course, comment down below pile three or whatever resonated for you. I'm so rooting for you, pile number three. I love to see your comments. So make sure you interact below. When you interact with the reading, you bring the energy closer to you. So make sure you like or comment down below. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I post new pick a card tarot readings just like this one every single week. So I hope to see you here again soon. Until next time, bye, Paw 3. All right, so with the green calcite, it's really showing me that your heart is trying to heal from something while also encouraging growth and renewal in your life. Because The green calcite is connected to the heart chakra, which is really giving that energy of self-compassion, compassion for others, and also emotional restoration in your own life. The zodiac signs that the green calcite is connected to is Taurus and Cancer. So those two signs are really giving me the energy of security, nourishment, long-term stability, which also is reflected again in the Ten of Pentacles. So with that being said, the energy here with the green calcite is very soft. It's steady and it's regenerative. It is an earthy kind of energy. Also, if we look at the coloring of the green calcite, it is a soft, muted green that really shows the energy of wanting a soft, gentle connection and relationship. Easy times is what I just heard. So with that being said, I'm sensing that this relationship is good and gentle. However, there has been a little bit of struggles and potentially even a challenge that has come up. But let's go ahead and actually just dive into the tarot story now, starting with the Ten of Pentacles. So right off the bat, what this is showing me and telling me is that you definitely want to create a legacy with this person, but there may be some worries about how to get to that legacy, because obviously 222 on the clock right now, actually. No matter how much we want something, the things that we want in life that are worth it do require hard work. And so you potentially could be overthinking. I'm getting the energy of potentially overthinking about the future. And this could be for some of you, if you don't have kids yet and you do want that legacy, because we're also getting the Empress, which talks about, obviously she's depicted as pregnant. So it talks about family, and this is family as well. So maybe you guys are literally family planning right now and you're thinking about how much hard work that could be to create a family, which is completely understandable. That's actually correct. That obviously having a family is not going to be easy breezy beautiful all the time. It's going to take a lot of energy and effort, but that is something that it seems like you really want, with that Ten of Pentacles really kicking off the whole story. So the Ten of Pentacles is Mercury in Virgo energy, and Virgo is a builder. They are somebody that is a provider and wants to provide for their families, whether it's male or female. So having Mercury here, and Mercury also rules over Virgo, this is a sign of practicality. This is really planning things out. This is really trying to build. This is really trying to have that financial security, because this card is talking about wealth, financial security, family, long-term success, and contribution. Again, doesn't matter if you're male or female. If you have Virgo heavy in your chart, you're gonna want that. You're gonna want to do what you can in the world so you can bring it back to your family. That's what I'm getting. So we go out into the world and do things. Some people like to just spend it on themselves, but some people really go out into the world, work as hard as they can so they can bring it back to their families and enjoy it with their families. It's really like that, wanting to save money and have security for somebody else, to have that collaboration, that family, that teamwork. So I'm really sensing that you lean towards the side of, yeah, maybe you do spoil yourself, but however, I think when you're out there in the world trying to work hard or attracting somebody that works hard, you're envisioning something like this, the Ten of Pentacles. And the truth of this connection is, the person that you're asking about, I sense that they also feel this way. However, with the Ten of Wands coming, I sense that sometimes you guys get burdened by life. This is very normal. So maybe you're in a maybe more quiet phase of your relationship, or I just felt something unplugging from each other. So maybe you have been unplugged from each other for a little bit because you've been working hard individually. But what I'm sensing is, it's okay to have periods of time where you're not super connected, super into each other's lives, because you're building something in your own individual lives, with the shared goal though of having some type of family legacy, because I sense that you guys really do want those things. And the Ten of Wands is talking about Saturn and Sagittarius energy. So this is really showing me a restriction of expansion energy. So it's like you guys want to expand, but something is restricting it, because Saturn is a restricting planet, but Sagittarius is actually an expansive type of sign that wants to adventure, travel, go out, learn new things, have a lot of philosophies, and it is naturally ruled over by Jupiter, which is an expansion planet. So the Saturn and Sagittarius energy is a little bit more difficult, and this card talks about burden, extra responsibility, hard work, and completion. So you guys may be taking on extra responsibilities right now so that you can have long-term success, so that you can contribute to this relationship. But that puts a bit of a burden on the relationship, right? There has been sacrifices that you potentially had to make, but there is a worth it ending for this. Those sacrifices, those hard works, it's because you have a long-term view for this relationship. You want to build something that lasts. Again, I'm going to bring up the family thing, the legacy, commitment, having really shared values around security or future or family planning, and just that stability and contribution. So you may have carried a lot of weight though, wanting this. you may have carried most of the burden, or maybe the other person carries a lot of the burden. You guys have maybe been thinking in a way that really just shows how responsible you are, but it ends up being too much responsibilities. There could even be, with this card coming up, an emotional labor imbalance or physical labor imbalance, or just literally, for some of you, potentially you're staying in this relationship out of duty rather than joy, because I can also see that as well. You just feel like it's the right thing to do. 2 tens, okay? 10 is the number of completion, but when you add 1 and 0, it's 1, and that's the number of the self. So make sure, I always say this, I pretty much say this in every video, not in every pile, but I do feel like I say this in every video that talks about a connection. The connection is not just you and the other person. You don't think about it as two people. It's actually the individual as well. Them on their own and you on your own. So it's just as important to pour into yourself as it is the other person and the relationship as a two. Okay? Really, really understanding that when you don't pour into your own self, into your own cup, this is so basic. I feel everybody says this, and it's because we're really trying to hound it down. It's really true. It is so pivotal, so important to realize that genuinely, if you are self-sacrificing to the point of self-erasure, it is not going to help the relationship at all. People are going to start acting funny around you because they just feel like this person has no sense of self, and they're putting me off kilter because of their low sense of self. I'm very much in the belief of the universe, God, whoever you want to say, is always going to show you your lessons, even if you don't want them. So if you're somebody that keeps self-sacrificing, overgiving, stuff like that, you're going to see stories, somebody's going to come in your life where they do that, and you're going to realize, oh my gosh, it's annoying. And I do that. So it's just to show you a realization. You could be nurturing. You could still provide. You could still be a working parent. You could still have your contribution into the relationship so you can have this long-term legacy that you're dreaming of. But when you're overburdening yourself, taking on their tasks as well as your tasks, and really just planning everything out and trying to move everything forward yourself, then the person might just sit back and be like, well, they got it, so I'm not going to do anything. So it could be that as well. So when we see that type of energy, we really want to just focus back on the self. So we do talk about 3 different queens here, basically. The Empress is the ultimate queen. The Queen of Swords is a queen that is independent, has unbiased judgment, clear boundaries, and direct communication. This is Virgo and Libra energy. So really balancing that practicality with a little bit more of a Venusian feminine energy. So with that being said, the Queen of Swords does encourage you to be independent. Okay, use your unbiased judgment on this relationship. And honestly, if you're feeling overburdened, direct communication and clear boundaries to the other person about that. I can't take this on right now. That is okay. And if this is a person that's meant for you, they'll understand that and not feel offended if you can't take on any more extra responsibilities. Okay, and then so we move on to the Empress, which is Venus and Earth energy. And this talks all about beauty, femininity, nature, nurturing, abundance, generosity, and creativity. So you can continue to be generous, you can continue to be nurturing, and even creating abundance in your life, either that financially, materially, emotionally, while giving to this person, you could also give it to yourself. So I really even encourage you to do something potentially creative, maybe something of just even beautifying yourself or your space and tapping into your femininity of just being, rather than doing all the stuff and having all these extra burdens and responsibilities, because it really does take away from your femininity and then negatively impacts the relationship. I do encourage you to focus on the self. And then the Queen of Wands coming next. This is a very courageous queen. This is a confident queen, also independent. So both of these queens can be very independent. The Queen of Wands is a social butterfly and very, very determined. This is Pisces and Aries energy. So even if we want to be in a partnership, even though we want family legacy with somebody, a long-term success with somebody, you have to be a queen in your own right. Sometimes I really like to put a story out there so you guys can conceptualize it. Think about any movie or any story that you have where it's talking about a royal court, for example, where there's actually a king and a queen in the story. 11 of 11 on the clock as I'm saying this. When you think about the queen, or you're shown the queen in these movies, these stories, these shows, is she really sitting around worried all the time about what the king is doing? Is she really taking on the king's tasks? Maybe here and there she's helping him out and supporting him, but she usually has her own life. She's running something, she's doing something. If in a day you guys spend hours together even, there's always going to be that time where you're spending it on yourself. And that's time for balance, moderation, and putting something in the world of your own purpose. You can reflect his light, adopt his purpose, but you
most likely have your own passions, your own purpose. So it's really important as a queen to continue being independent and courageous, confident, and determined towards your own path as well. You could be building something that is your own alongside supporting him on his journey. And that's totally fine. That's even encouraged. He's going to even find you even more alluring if you have something on your own, because he's got to work too, right? He's got to do something on his own, right? He's going to be building as well. And you can't be hanging out with him 24/7, literally getting in the way, honestly. And just imagine your own self. Let's say, I'm just going to make a random example, but let's say you're a woman and you're a queen and you have a little sister. Imagine how annoying it'd be if she was trying to be with you 24/7, never leaving you alone, always, what you doing, what you doing, trying to take on all your tasks. You'd be like, go away. Honestly, after some amount of time, you'd tell her to go away. And maybe that's the energy. I don't know why I'm getting the energy of that for this particular reading, because it's so random, but I just think that there had been burdens in your relationship or just taking on too much. Even though you want the family, you want the legacy. And then finally, the last card, which really ties it all together and why I've been talking about this, is Mars and Leo energy. This is Seven of Wands. It talks about challenge, competition, protection, and perseverance. So there may have really been you trying to really persevere through some things to make your dreams come true in this relationship. But it feels there's just been a lot of energy, a lot of burdens and excess energy having to be done here through the 3 on the clock as I say that. So what I'm sensing is it's been a journey, it's been a struggle, and really the main message I'm getting from this is the truth of this connection is both of you want the same things, but you're both either overworked or overburdened at this time, which is adding challenges to your connection in your relationship, maybe even separations or misunderstandings. So when you feel like you're overexerting in the relationship, putting the energy back into yourself is really going to help this particular relationship. All right, let's move on to your oracle cards. We're getting this image here. It's a girl by herself, and this is a tree and roots branch. So just really getting to the root of who you are without this person and really trying to have a healthy individualism while also being in a relationship is absolutely perfectly fine, even encouraged, okay? Imagine all unwanted thoughts dissolving into light, creating room for new opportunities and possibilities in your life, for your life, actually. So honestly, yeah, I feel the extra burdens or responsibilities or even the fears of what it looks like to create a family legacy is creating chaos in your mind. And really just stepping away, focusing on yourself, even just having solitude a couple hours a day is really going to open up time for you to dissolve any of those unwanted thoughts. I really recommend journaling for this pile because I'm sensing that there's some heaviness, there's some challenges here, there's some burdens here, and maybe you don't want to put that energy out into the world. I sense some of you hold your emotional energy in because we're also talking about the stone of emotional energy, right? So for some of you, you need to journal it all out. It doesn't matter how, I heard mean your journal entries are, just let it all out. Let it all out in those journal entries, and you can either burn it when you're done or shred it. I like a shredder. I used to burn some journal entries, or sometimes I'd write letters to certain people that I had negative feelings about, and it was just writing that letter to them. It's your own personal closure, because realistically you're not going to get closure from every single person that you had a conflict with. So the energy of burning it was also cathartic. However, it's a little messy. So I would recommend a shredder. Literally, anybody can get a shredder. You probably already have one, a paper shredder, and just write out all your feelings. Doesn't matter how nasty it is or mean it is. You're trying to just get some of that energy out, and then you shred it. You don't mean it. You're not going to ever actually say these things to those people or regarding the situation, and especially if it's your relationship. Of course, things happen, and there's the sense of burden, hard work, or even challenges in a relationship that make you really stressed out. You could put all that stress out onto paper without ever bringing it into your relationship at all, and just shred it. Just let it go after that. And if you need to do this every day, if you need to do this 10 times a day, you need 100 pages of journaling about this situation, then do it. I promise you, you will feel better. It is just one of the most simple things to do. And honestly, everyone can afford a notebook or some binder paper, literally anything. And I do recommend actual pen and paper to do this, not the journal app or the notes app. It's not quite the same effect. I want you to do pen and paper, writing it down. Your hand is going to start hurting when you actually, it's really, there's a different way your brain fires off when you're actually writing it out versus typing it on your notes app or even speaking it out loud. Those can be tools at times, the really big thing for this pile is to journal. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. Talk less, feel more, last quarter moon in Pisces. So that's what I'm saying. I just felt maybe you guys were kind of word vomiting. Maybe that's why I just went on that little journaling talk for a second. Maybe that is what is adding more burdens into your relationship, because every time you have all these feelings that you just want to word vomit it out, but the real way to address those feelings and those thoughts that you're having that are maybe darker is to get yourself some quiet time, turn on your favorite type of music that is relaxing. So not hyphy music or anything that's going to hype you up and energize you, but calming music. I personally love meditation music. There's so many different types of meditation musics out there. Tibetan meditation music, you can listen to Hertz music, 432 Hertz, or you can listen to even lo-fi. I know people like lo-fi, soft jazz, literally any of those type of musics. Turn that on, be alone, whether that's in your room, with a pet, whatever. Get quiet, get your journal out, and just let it all out. You may start crying. You may start feeling a lot that you didn't realize was there, but it's good. It's really good. It's good for your soul. It's good for your emotions. And then all that talking, chattering energy that you're putting into your relationship is put onto the pages instead. And then guess what? You're not even going to want to talk to them about it anymore. This works for me all the time, to be honest. And then I write it all out and I shred it. I literally have a shredder right next to my desk for this exact reason, because I got a lot of feelings. I have way more emotional control over my feelings now than I ever have before. And it's all these exercises that I'm telling you guys about: meditation, journaling, mirror work. Okay, those are the three that are coming to mind. There's obviously others that I talk about on my channel, but for this particular pile, I feel journaling is just the number one way for you to get that emotional regulation back into your life. And I know you guys have empty notebooks. I know you guys have empty notebooks scattered around your house, hidden somewhere, so you need to find one and start writing. And it could be your old notebook that you had, that you used to take notes for a class or something that you're not even using anymore. You know what? Rip out your class notes if you don't need them anymore. Shred those. And then just start writing your feelings out. And honestly, if you have a journal entry that is not negative and that you come to really good realizations while you're journaling, because we never can plan out what we're going to write. It just goes as we're writing. And if you have something that ends up being really a revelation and positive, you don't have to rip it out and shred it. You could just leave it in the journal. So I do that all the time as well. If it ends up being a very enlightening journal entry, I just leave it there. And I love to read my journal entries from years ago, because I'm like, wow, that's what I was going through. I didn't even remember I was going through that and how I was feeling. And I feel so much stronger being able to read this from however many years ago and realizing I thought I was going to die in this period of time. I was so burdened. I was so overworked. Everything was a challenge. But then I got through all of that and I'm so much stronger now. And having that to review, it just adds some fire into your life, because you're like, I can't believe I transformed and transmuted all that. And I'm just in a better place now. And then you realize whatever you're going through now is going to feel the exact same in 3-5 years. You're going to realize I've moved through it and I'm stronger now. So let's go ahead and move on. We're getting happiness. Number 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. And we have Gemini down here. So really, Gemini is communication also. So I feel, yeah, writing, talking it out. For some of you, you may also benefit from mirror work, which is looking at yourself in the mirror and actually talking to yourself about the situation and just getting some of that talking energy out. Another thing that I do that I feel really helps as well is when I'm in a place where I'm alone. So typically in the shower or even driving somewhere, I have these conversations as if I was having it with the people, but then it helps me just let go of any resentment or burdens that I have to that person, even though we never might actually talk about these things together. It just helps with releasing some of the emotional energy. Energy needs to move, especially emotional energy. Have you ever realized that when you're feeling upset or sad or whatever, and you're just couch riding all day, it's almost like the energy is amplified and even worse. But however, if you're having a really emotional day, but you go for a walk or you talk to a friend or you journal or you meditate, then things are feeling so much lighter, more manageable. So that's the energy that I'm just trying to get you to always go back to, always choosing movement. 2-2-2-2 on the clock as I'm saying that. So always choosing movement in your energy, whether again, journaling, speaking it out, just getting that emotional energy out of you so it's not trapped in your mind. Your mind can really, really, really play tricks on you. So you need to get it out of your mind. And sometimes it's just literally the act of getting it out and then it literally dissolves. I can't explain that, but it's just something that I've just noticed works for me. And it's honestly been something that has taken many years for me to learn. Even though I knew journaling was so important for my well-being and my happiness and my emotional regulation, sometimes I would be like, oh, I don't have time for it. I don't have time to do all the things I have to do. And realistically, you'd get more energy if you just did it. So I always try to journal at least 1 page a day. And I meditate every single day. And this has been consistent. Those two practices have changed my life. Journaling 1 page, I timed it, takes 10 minutes or less. So you can do a 10-minute journal or less a day, not that much time. Your meditation could be 5 minutes, one time in the morning, one time at night, another 10 minutes a day. How many minutes do you spend scrolling? You've already been on this video for probably over 20 minutes. So you have time, okay? It's for your own happiness. Okay, opportunity. So there's many opportunities also coming your way, and the moon is here, and the moon is your emotions and your moods. So there's so much opportunities that can be unlocked when you address your emotions, your moods, and do the things that I'm telling you about. I feel like this is just another sign, but also something that's coming from this card is I feel like the universe is going to show you a lot of different opportunities when you allow yourself to receive those opportunities, because the moon is also a very feminine, receptive planet. So when you open yourself up to that energy, I feel like just so many different things are going to come into your life. And also you guys have been working really hard. And I do sense the burden energy, the hardworking energy, the trying to create a family legacy energy within this connection. And I feel like when you focus more on creating happiness in your life, talking less, doing more journaling, meditation, you'll be happier. And then the happiness and the gratitude energy that is in your life and your aura is going to bring more opportunities into your life. I definitely see that. And you will get everything that you've ever desired, especially in this connection. I really feel you guys are mutuals. However, it's just, there's a stressful energy about it, a hardworking energy that's coming up. So let's go ahead and move forward. Oh, karma. This is a literal, I love the concept of karma. And also this is a spirituality card. So, I mean, maybe there's some type of karmas in your relationship, but what I'm actually getting from this particular card is that everything that you've given into the world, all those hard work, burdens, extra responsibilities that you've taken that you feel like you haven't really gotten paid for it yet, is going to come back to you. And it might be not in the way that you feel it should have came. So for example, maybe you have been really working hard. I'm just making a random example, but maybe you've been working really hard giving to your family, taking care of people's kids, not really asking for compensation for it. You're just doing a favor for somebody in your family, watching their kids. And let's say you really want to become a mom and you've been struggling to get pregnant. Maybe all that energy of pouring into kids and children will bring you the literal soulmate light of your life as a child. And eventually it will come. Karma is not always instant. Sometimes there is instant karma, okay? I just want to be very clear. But for this particular situation, I feel the slow build and contribution that you've been putting into your life, whether I just made a random family example because of family and pregnancy and just hard work, but it will come back. So the concept of karma of putting good things out there if you want good things back is very important. And also, similarly, if you keep putting negative energy out there, let's say you don't journal and you keep spazzing and talking to your partner about all of the different things that you feel, that energy is going to come back in some way, whether it's feeling burdensome in the relationship or just negatively affecting the relationship. So anything that you give out is going to be returning to you soon. So think about positive karma. Think about doing things that are in alignment with you and your goals and your soul's purpose. And then life is going to start feeling a lot more light, more supportive, and more aligned. All right, so actually that's all I have for you today, pile number 4. I actually really enjoyed this reading. I don't think that anything is going to go wrong. I really feel like this is a connection that is actually really built on mutual values. You guys have maybe just been working a little bit too hard or having emotional burdens. So once you work on those, pour into yourself through your own happiness and your own emotional regulation, things are going to be changing, good karma is going to be coming, and opportunities are going to be coming as well. So if you enjoyed that reading, pile number 4, please give me a big like down below and comment down below, pile 4, if you chose this reading, or tell me what resonated with you. I'd love to see your comments. So make sure you interact below. When you interact with the reading, you pull the energy closer to you. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I post new pick a card tarot readings just like this one every single week. So I hope to see you here again soon. Bye, pile 4.